Is Poppy really with us or against us? Another Poppy playtime theory? You betcha! Let's start with what we know. We know that Poppy asks us to trust her before being captured by Mummy. We also know that Poppy is afraid of returning to the case and wants Mummy dead. Finally, Poppy judges the player like they're one of the game station children. Got all those facts? Let's bring it all together! Poppy starts off chapter 2 by telling us that we need to trust her just before being grabbed by Mummy Longlegs. Then, Mummy Longlegs traps Poppy above the game station and tortures the player with dangerous games. It seems that from the very start, Poppy wanted us to be friends. But do you make friends with everybody who says, "Bro, trust me"? Even so, it does seem that Poppy is against Mummy Longlegs, who is our key antagonist, providing evidence that they were on our side. Should we trust Poppy just because we share a common enemy though? We do know at the end of Poppy Playtime Chapter 2 that Poppy wanted Mummy Longlegs dead. There are two reasons for this. One is that she was afraid Mummy would put her back in the case that she was stuck in for years. The other is that she outright says to the player that killing Mummy Longlegs was good. This is important because Mummy Longlegs was a key part of the game station. Mummy cooperated with the proctors of Playtime Co. to allow children to play dangerous games. Considering that the children were orphaned, Mummy was like the mother that they could never have, and Mummy appeared to genuinely care for them. However, Mummy was clearly upset that the children had to leave their games, bitter at the Playtime Co. employees for what they were doing at the factory. This includes the player, who was once one of these employees. We suggested in previous videos that Poppy might be Stella Grayber, the voice of the announcer at the game station playground. But if this were the case, wouldn't Mummy also be against her? Perhaps that's the whole point, and Mummy just needed to deal with the player first. But remember that Mummy acted as a motherly figure to the other experiments. Poppy may have known this already and knew that Mummy would never kill her. Poppy could very well be scheming against the player, even though we have to assist them. Case in point, when we ride the train to the exit with Poppy, they talk about how perfect we are, talking to us like Alice Angel does to Boris. This means that Poppy was watching us complete the game station the entire time. And if Poppy really is Stella Grayber, it makes so much sense. Stella's voice is the one guiding the game station players to follow Mummy to their next activity. Stella is also a staff member that the game station proctors need to send their reports to. Effectively, Stella knows what makes a physically and mentally capable human possible, even if just for children. However, we should remember that if some of the adults were turned into toys, they very well may have been tested on too. Stella would then know more about how the adults perform at the games, and from this would be able to come to the conclusion that the player is good and would be useful to their mission as Poppy. Poppy also knows the suffering that went on at the factory, and was planning for a long time on what to do about it if escape was ever an option. Next thing you know, the player drops by, sets Poppy free, and defeats a powerful experiment such as Mummy Longlegs. The player blows Poppy's expectations completely out of the water, making the player irresistible to kidnap. So, given Poppy's apparent motives, it seemed pretty clear that Poppy wants to help, but to help stop whatever is left at the factory first and foremost. This is further proven in the prototype build of Poppy Playtime, where Poppy has an extended speech mentioning how much death occurred at Playtime Co. just because of Poppy's existence as a doll. After this happens, however, who knows? The player could end up being a martyr for Poppy's ambition. No matter what you believe, one thing's for certain. Whatever is waiting for us in the playcare in Chapter 3 will give us a much clearer picture of what to expect of Poppy. The player left Playtime Co. for a reason after all, so we cannot trust Poppy too much. Just like we can't be too sure about Kissy Missy. Tap this video to find out more about that, or check out some other Poppy Playtime theories. Subscribe for more creepy videos.